let's get at her. It is another episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast. We did 2 episodes last week. So thank you again to Sarah Benninger for hopping in the chat for the YouTube stream and talking about, of course, the Denver Broncos free agency. It was what dominated, the week, I should say, of last week. So it seems only fitting to dip our toes back into mock draft season, since we are close to being about a week away. Sorry, not a week away, a month away from. I wish we were a week away because then we can just get it over with. But we are a month away from the NFL draft, where it will be taking place in Green Bay. So a better time to do an episode of a mock draft, a post-free agency mock draft. Now, the qualifiers are, it is going to be what we think the Denver Broncos will do, not about like what we want them to do, Jordan. But before we dive into anything, Brandon, Jordan, how are we doing today? You doing good, Brandon?
Doing well. Getting a little antsy for more football events because we're kind of in that weird space of like, well, free agency has happened and it was glorious, it was great, and now it's like, well, we got that entire month up until the draft. I wish it was a week, but it is not a week. We have a month. But otherwise, I'm doing well. I'm ready for more things to be happening because I need the draft to be next week, even though it isn't.
Yeah, Jordan, you doing good? You got finished with basketball practice and everything, or basketball game. But you doing good?
Yeah, I had to finish practice, rush back home. Was very eager to do this. I like these mock draft episodes. These are one of my favorites. Yeah. But no, I'm doing good. March Madness is here, so it's my favorite time of the year.
It begins tomorrow, right?
What happened?
Well, I mean, the playing games were Tuesday and Wednesday, and then they officially begin, if you will. It's tomorrow.
We're here. We are here. It's one of my favorite times of the year, but also still starving for a bit of football content,
Yeah, just a little.
Did you have Mount St. Mary's at all? No.
Actually, for the first part, I did have American.
American. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the beast that is March Madness that I never do because I can never keep up with it.
Yeah, well, once American's best player went down within the first 5 minutes of the game, I knew it was
yeah. That's brutal, man. I'm sorry.
It is.
Yeah, it's I think that's what makes March Madness so fun.
That's what makes it. That's the madness.
Yeah, it is literally so unpredictable. Is you'll have like crazy buzzer beaters of unknowns, right? I mean, actually, if we're being completely honest, that's the March Madness tournament is also what makes like players like famous or household names, right? So before Steph Curry became Steph Curry, right? He was the March Madness demon with Davidson, right? And he's actually one of the few people that I can recall in basketball where they were a demon in March Madness. Then they went to the NBA, and they got significantly better as the years and years progressed. Because I think about and obviously, Jordan, you're like a massive basketball fan, so feel free to correct either Brandon and I. But it feels like for March Madness, before we dive into the mock draft stuff, it feels like there's like one-hit wonders at times, like or one-hit wonders is like, it sounds bad, but it's just like there's players that don't become even better players, like the Steph Currys of the world, where they just kind of end up being role players or forgotten, right? Yeah. So it's like I think of Mario Chalmers, right? Mario Chalmers, and then maybe the other one to the regard of maybe being a better pro is Kemba Walker is the other one that I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, Kemba was more towards the Big East tournament. think everybody remembers him with that one viral clip. But I think Kibble was still one of them. But listen, March Madness, you can just one good week or one stretch of 2 good weeks, let's say, and you are an absolute legend. And they add March Madness legend. Wow, going off hot.
Yeah, coming out hot. Mike says March Madness is 70 degrees on Tuesday and a blizzard on Wednesday. It sounds like Colorado weather, actually.
Yeah, that's just Colorado. Like 11 and a half months of the year.
Yeah. But nonetheless, it's going to be a lot of fun. Family and I are doing a bracket, and I think one of the friends are doing a bit of a bracket. I didn't try and change things up a bit. I've got Houston winning it, but I do have St. John's in the Final Four, and I actually have them making it to the national championship, I believe. So hopefully there's no bracket that's busted. Jordan and Brandon, who do you guys have in the national championship?
I didn't make a bracket, so Jordan.
So you're all
just get
vibes.
to enjoy it for fun. And
so you're all vibes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, in my real bracket, I do have Duke St. John's in the national championship.
Duke and St. John's. Duke is like one of the teams where you actually have no idea what team you're going to get. You're going to get either a team that's going to be losing in the first 2 rounds, or they're going to go to the Elite Eight or Final Four.
Flip a coin.
So, all right. So for anybody that is just hopping in, the Denver Broncos are a month away, and we are going to be doing a post free agency mock draft. Now, for full disclosure, Brandon knows this, and I know this, and specifically Jordan knows this. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard for Jordan to not selfishly pick a wide receiver, knowing how obsessed he is with wide receiver in this class. So it is going to be really hard for him to pass on the likes of like an Emeka Egbuka or a Luther Burden, knowing probably full well of the idea that the Broncos are going to.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see who's there, but I'm pretty open personally as well to the idea of taking a wide receiver.
Oh, here we go. Things get interesting
at 20 or in round 2. So to each their own. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
But remember,
we'll see how the cookie crumbles. We'll see how the board falls.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. Jordan, what's your favorite wide receiver in this class? I feel like I have to ask you this question. Sorry, Cameron, go ahead.
But remember, this is what we think they will do.
I know, that's why I wanted to start the discussion on opinions first and ask Jordan who his favorite wide receiver is.
My favorite wide receiver out of this class is Egbuka.
It's Egbuka. Okay. All right.
I believe it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens, but the Teteroa McMillan stuff is kind of falling a little bit. Burden obviously is another one that's also kind of basically dropping. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to do in doing a mock draft live. I know that we certainly get a kick out of doing this. And Jordan, this is your first time actually doing like a mock draft stream, if you will, on Mainly, if I remember right.
This is correct.
Thanks for hopping in to people in the chat. Obviously, to jump right in.
DL round 1. All right.
Kodiak Broncos podcast says DL round 1. Now,
honestly, I know that this is what will the team do realistic mock draft, but I literally could see them do almost anything. I could see them taking a wide receiver. I could see them taking a defensive lineman. That's kind of the fun of having an offseason like we did so far is even in these realistic, don't do what you want, do what you think the team will do. I legitimately think the team could do any of those things.
Yeah.
So
jumping into the comments, Ty Walden jumps in and he's like, "What is going on? When did Jordan join the Mainly Broncos podcast?" Well, Ty, you are still rather current. He joined about a couple weeks ago. But Ty mentions, interestingly, I assume he's talking about the tackle, but he does say running back, tight end, or Campbell, or he riots. I assume he's talking about the LSU tackle, which I think is a bit interesting because he's actually one of the very, very, very few people that I've seen mention about drafting a tackle.
Or is he talking about the linebacker from Bama?
That's probably what he's talking about. Is the linebacker from Alabama, Jihad Campbell.
Yeah,
Jihad Campbell. I wouldn't hit it.
Big Mike,
Say.
probably with a huge bag of Wingstop, so that he had the Gators winning.
yeah, it's a good pick, man.
Big Mike also has an important question. Are we going to be trading in this mock or not? Is this a no trades mock or is this a trades mock?
I feel like something like this where the trade offers start rolling in, it's really hard to not do trades.
Like, since we are attempting to embody the spirit and draft war room of one Mr. George Payton, trades have to be on the table because you know George likes his trades.
I'm down with it.
And by the way, I thanks to some of the help of the people that we know in the Broncos content community, I was talking to some people, and as it turns out, Sean Payton, as we know, doesn't trade back. Like, it is very rare that he trades back, right? However, I did find it interesting that in the trade back scenarios, the times when he did trade back was in the very early years of the New Orleans Saints, when he was roster building for that team. So based on the trajectory and the view of how things are looking for the Broncos, it is still very much in the early years of Sean Payton. So, not saying we would, but it would be interesting if we rolled it with the idea that they're going to be trading back. So,
I mean, I agree it's not really Sean's style, but you never know. In a class like this, with the talent that's available in pretty much all of day 2, I can't imagine he wouldn't consider the idea, but you're right. Like, it is definitely not a Sean Payton staple. And that's going to be one of those areas where, it's kind of a question of which Payton has more pull here. And like, it's probably Sean, but George is in the room. So
George is definitely in the room. I guess it's time to see how accurate we are. Big Mike says he's going to be running Sim on his laptop and get a chance to see if he gets anything similar. So that'll be interesting. All right, gents, you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. It will be a 7-round mock draft, and we are going to be picking, of course, for the Denver Broncos. So normal speed. So hopefully we can get a chance to see who is taken where. All right, here we go.
It was a very interesting start.
Okay.
Shedeur to the Saints.
Wow. What a Dolphins pick.
That's interesting.
Oh, the first wide receiver off the board is Matthew Golden.
So we do have trade offers, as some people do see it on the screen. We do see some trade. We do see some trade offers. It looks like the most trade offers that do get sent to you are probably like 3 that I've seen in doing these simulators. So the first one is from the Arizona Cardinals, where they decide not to send one of their other picks and decide to go with pick 47, 78, 152, and a future second round pick for just your pick 20. The next one is the 49ers, which includes 2 picks of ours, which is pick 20, 122, and then pick 43, pick 75, pick 100, future second, and future third for the 2026 NFL draft. And then, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they offer 3 picks for pick 20, which is 36, 70, 142, and a future 2026 second round pick from the Jags. How are we feeling, guys? I mean, maybe not necessarily all that enticing. I mean, if you're going to be looking at it, it's probably the 49ers offer.
Honestly, the 49ers offer is a little intriguing to me because like you're going to end up with 5 picks in the top 100. And again, when you're in a class like this where there's so much depth and it's not as top heavy, like you could really fill up on some super quality players with those picks. Yes, you're going to lose out on the ability to get like, I'm going to say this in air quotes, a top 20 guy, because we don't know, but like we don't know what the evaluation for the team is on these players. Like we might only have 18 players with first round grades and all 18 of them are gone, right? Like you never know. And it's like, whoa, how can there be 32 picks in the first round and only 18 players with first round grade? Like, I feel like that happens pretty regularly just because someone is taken in the first round, because you have to take 32 players in the first round. Usually doesn't mean that they have all received a first round grade from the team that potentially took them, or even the other teams that, evaluated them. So, we don't know. We don't know if they see anyone left that they value as like a top 20 player. So to me, the San Francisco trade is a little intriguing, just again, because you're going to load up on having 5 top 100 picks in a pretty deep class, but
so
it's a bit of a trade-off.
But before we get into you, Jordan, Ty mentions do not take Arizona's offer. Don't even take San Francisco's offer. He basically says keep the draft picks. All 3 offers are terrible. What say you?
If I were to choose one of the trades, it'd be the Niners.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, there's a lot of moving parts in this, but I just don't like how the drop off is that big from 20 to 43. That's the only thing that
is the trade-off.
Yeah. And I think the thing for me, if I'm going to be moving from 20, I would want it to still be someone within the first round.
Correct. Yep.
And the fact that we don't have any offer from a team, and the closest thing is Jacksonville. I mean, it's pretty less enticing, but I agree. If you're going to be taking any offer, it probably would be the 49ers. But probably before we accept any offer, let's take a look and find out who is available that the Denver Broncos would be saying, no, we are passing on these 3 trade offers, and we're going to be selecting these players in the draft. So let's do a hide, okay? And let's take a look. Obviously, we're going to be looking strictly probably from the running back side. So let's see here. We have a popular name there for possibly pick 20 right there. And by the way, Alex Smith, this is about what we think the Broncos will do. And as of right now, it sounded like Mike Kliss in his recent video said that the direction he feels like they go is defensive line and running back. So yeah. So that's kind of where things are trending right now, I guess, if you're going to be looking at it from there. This seems quite easy as it stands for right now. That we are going to be running without imitating Omarion Hampton, to the podium.
Out of curiosity, just let's take a look at all the players available just to see what the board looks like.
Wide receiver?
Oh, I meant like on the all tab. Just to see everyone that's kind of there. Primarily because, people fall every year, especially at least from what I've seen. This specific simulator kind of is either less realistic or maybe even more realistic, depending on how you view it, and that crazy stuff seems to happen. So like you do have a guy in Derek Carmen there that is on that defensive line that could be a potential player that we would look at here. If we are going off of what Mike has reported in terms of those being kind of the top two positions that they're looking at. So that's certainly possible. Can you scroll down a little bit more?
Yes. So we have the first three names, by the way, are Jalen Walker, Derek Harmon, Nick Imanwari, Jihad Campbell, which was one of Ty's guys that he mentioned, Siobhan Rebel, Josh Simons, Colston Levlin. He was a really popular name before a player by the name of Evan Ingram came to town. Nick Scorton, the edge rusher from A&M, Jordan's two favorite people of this draft, Emeka Igbuka and Luther Burden, and then Tylik Williams, Walter Nolan, Donovan Ezaraku, Gray Zabel, if you want to get like a fun, non-sexy pick, Kenneth Grant, Omarion Hampton.
Man, that's interesting. If I'm looking at this right now and I'm like, what does Denver do? Damn, I don't know. I mean, this is a tough position because like you could easily sell me that they are in on potentially investing early in wide receiver. And like, yes, I know we've heard Sean say like, we're confident in our young guys. We want to develop our young guys. That's why we're not going after really that many people like in free agency. But I mean, this is also an organization that's kind of tries to play things close to the chest, at least a little bit. Sean was more vocal in certain aspects of what he's looking for on the team, but I definitely do think I wouldn't be surprised to see Omarion Hampton go here.
It seems to be the trend.
I wouldn't even hate it. Honestly, I wouldn't even be upset at that pick. And like, yeah, you're looking at this board and there's a lot of other really good players that are available. But Hampton is just special. Like if this wasn't a draft class that just, first of all, happened to have such an absolutely ridiculous, just in general position at running back in terms of the depth and the players available. And also wasn't a class that happened to have alien Ashton Genty in it. Like Omarion Hampton would pretty easily be the number one running back. And like he might not even be that far under Genty. Like, yes, Genty was an absolute monster, but like Omarion Hampton had over 1,000 yards after contact last season for the Tar Heels, which is insane. And they didn't use him that much as a pass catcher out of the backfield, but he can do that as well. So I wouldn't even be mad at taking him at 20. Like I do think he is a first round player, first round running back. There's definitely a lot of other players on the board that, in my opinion, also would make sense. And again, you're looking at such an insane class at running back that you're going to have so many options later down the line. But if we're going off of what I think they will do, given all of these options, like, yeah, we want something on the defensive line, but this is also a very deep defensive tackle class and just defensive line class. So I think I might be with you that it could be Omarion Hampton here. But
Big Mike mentions that Hampton fell to him at 51. If that happens,
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, which would be rare. Jordan,
what do you think, Jordan?
This one's a hard one for you because this is tugging at your heartstrings right now, knowing the fact that Emeka Igbuka and Luther Burden are available at pick 20. So now it truly feels like, what are the Broncos going to be doing, Jordan?
Well, there's two sides of this because we're doing it based off what we think the Broncos are going to do. If this was me, I think this is relatively easy, at least for me, because again, I believe that this running back class is deep, right? So I can wait for a running back. I can wait. Now there is a guy that I think is one of the best just general football players in this draft. And Peter Schrager even made that announcement, just strictly football player. That's Emeka Egbuka. So if this was me, I'd pick Egbuka right here at 20 and then go running back later on. What I think the Broncos would do in this position, I think they'll go after Amari Hampton. I think he would be the pick at 20 if it falls down like this.
I'm trending the idea that it's going to end up being Amari Hampton.
Which I'm not mad at, by the way. He's a hell of a kid.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing is like he's not necessarily like a solidified running back too, but like he is one that if you look at it from the Broncos side the Broncos like draft running back side or just even the class of running back side, obviously Genty's running back 1, but then Caleb Johnson and Amari Hampton are like 2A and 2B. Like it's really kind of close. And then that's when you get into basically the Trevion Henderson, and so on and so forth. So, all right. So let's roll with Amari Hampton. Let's take that.
Let's throw one idea out there. I agree with you. And I don't know is it Omarion or Omarion? I've heard both ways, but
potato.
Yeah. There is still some part of me that wonders, yes, we signed Evan Ingram, but he is a bit older. He has a little bit of a recent injury history, and Colston Loveland is an incredibly talented tight end that is still available here and was very, very frequently before we signed Evan Ingram mocked to Denver as like kind of the stand-in a little bit, the shoe-in, like it's just always going to be Colston Loveland. I'm not saying I would take him. I'm not saying that I think the team would take him. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the possibility that maybe they just go super loaded up here at tight end and still take someone like him, knowing that, yes, there have been more rookie tight ends in recent memory, specifically last season and the year before that have been able to produce well as rookies. All of the evidence prior to pretty much 2023 has said that there's a little bit of a learning curve there. So signing a guy like Evan Ingram for that sort of deal with his age and potential injury history, and then getting a guy like Colston Loveland, who's an incredibly athletic pass catcher. Like the best way I can describe the differences between Colston Loveland and the other kind of tight end draft darling for most of the year, which would be Tyler Warren, is Tyler Warren to me is probably closer to the tight end kind of that like Gronk was. Whereas Colston Loveland is the Travis Kelce of this class. Just more of a fluid pass catcher, and more of a specific pass catcher than like more of an inline, which I think the wide tight end, where it's like kind of the inline blocker, and also can be used in the passing game is kind of how I view Tyler Warren. Which, fun fact, he also like threw a couple passes. I think he snapped the ball a couple times for Penn State last year, so he does literally everything. But yeah, Colston Loveland is still an incredibly talented tight end, and I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on like, is that at all an option or not? I still think it's probably going to be Omarion Hampton, but
I think it's the same argument that
it's interesting.
I think it's the same argument we would be having for running back, which is, because it's a bit heavy in the sense of like some really solid tight ends. I'm okay passing on a tight end here, still going after whether it's an Omarion Hampton or a defensive lineman, and then getting your running back or even your tight end, with your next pick.
I think it is a possibility, just a very, very slight one.
Yeah.
Listen, I know you said it too. I wouldn't take Loveland with this pick. I think it'd be Hampton, but I think at least in my opinion, there's another tight end later on that's at least in my opinion better than Loveland.
All right. Get ready to learn Los Angeles, Colson.
We'll see.
Man.
Yeah, that's the pick right there for the Chargers.
Colson Loveland in the AFC West with the rest of the tight end gauntlet nightmare.
So Marion Hampton?
Yep.
Yeah, Marion Hampton. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike this pick.
By the way,
he's so talented. Wow. Okay, that's shocking.
Ravens. Oh,
Burden to the Saints.
He never falls to us, but A.O. Manor is a guy that I love.
Jihad Campbell to the Bills. That's a great pick.
Harold Fanning.
Jihad Campbell also missed his pro day today because he just had shoulder surgery. I just found this out. So he could drop a little bit.
So we do have 2 offers.
That's such a Giants trade.
What was the Giants offer? I didn't see it.
Jesus, I mean, let the kid run it.
Oh my gosh.
And then you have the Browns with 67 and 94.
Interesting.
Somewhat tempting.
Okay. Who's available?
Yeah, we gotta see who's available.
We have both Ohio State running backs. We could do the unthinkable here. And
there's a reason it's the unthinkable, and I don't think that thought enters.
But also Sean Sean prides himself of the unthinkable.
Who's
so of all
just in general? Yeah.
Ray Harris, Carson Schwezinger, Deion Walker. They're really high on Deion Walker because I've seen him between this range and like 90. Azariah Thomas, Maxwell Hairston, Isaiah Bond, Marcus Mbao for possibly center, Jaden Higgins,
my boy,
Darius Alexander, Trayvon Henderson, Jalen Noel.
Interesting.
He's still in defense. He's still in offense here. Still,
go to defense. Just I want to get just an idea of who's available
for top defense.
Schlesinger is still kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's rising.
He's pretty popular.
Yeah, he's been rising as of late.
Yeah.
Where do you guys feel like we would go?
It's interesting. So I have thoughts, but I'm curious to hear Jordan first.
I actually sort of have an idea of what they may potentially do, but just real quick, Cam, just go to the tight ends real quick. I want to see where someone's at. Just I'm curious where this website has this particular individual. Wow, geez, this website is good. So,
is it Arroyo
or? So let's go back to the defense here. I do think this is a very, very Denver move, and I think it'd be popular once fans see his highlights and see what he's about. But he's still on the board, and you mentioned him. It's the kid from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Deion Walker. I mean, that's a – I mean, last time I heard he was 350 pounds and like 6'7". You want to talk about just making that defensive line just so much bigger and stronger and just – I mean, listen, it might not be the pick everybody would want there, but I can see Denver doing this so badly because
as far as
you win in the trenches.
As far as the defensive lineman, Walker, TJ Sanders, Landon did mention, was it here, that if the JFM stuff continues, he might be a decent enough replacement for JFM if they wanted to go that route.
Deion Walker to me though profiles more as like your run stuffer on the defensive line. Not that that's not a good position to fill on the defensive line, But we did also just sign DJ Jones back.
Yeah.
And both impending free agents next year are like lighter, quicker pass rushers, whereas Walker to me is more of your mountain that you plug into the middle of your defensive line and don't let anyone through.
I was just spitballing there because I do go back to usually what everybody knows about the Eagles, and they just pounded on defensive linemen, got everybody there. But I think it's an idea I think Denver will entertain. I don't think they'd take them. I just wanted to spitball that out there.
Well, it's definitely interesting. And like, I would not be surprised if they do go after him, or at least target him and look at him. There's another guy that's might be available a little bit later that I'm
Ty Robinson,
a big fan on, but what's that?
Ty Robinson?
No.
Dang it.
But I could definitely see that happening. My kind of view here is this is going to be a little interesting because I know that this is what does Denver do, not what would I do.
Yeah.
And that case is like, this could be inaccurate.
What position group are you thinking?
Wide receiver.
Oh.
Because looking at literally just the names that I am seeing in front of my eyes with those 5 players that's available on the board just in this view without scrolling down, I see 3 of them that are all potential like wide receiver, almost wide receiver 1-esque potential Cortland Sutton replacements. And I don't know how the team views Cortland. I don't know what they're trying to do there. Obviously he's a free agent next year. Not sure if we're trying to re-sign him or if we're still going to look at trading him, which has been a rumor multiple times now in the past couple off seasons. Specifically, like Trey Harris is very intriguing to me. He is a fantastic wide receiver who can also play in the slot a bit for you as well. And it was a bit disappointing to see him be, I guess, I don't know if I'd say misused at Ole Miss, but they only had him run like 4 routes, and he can run a lot more than 4 routes. Like he is a very capable route runner, even though they didn't really use him a ton that way. He reminds me so much of Cortland Sutton. So if you're looking for your next Cortland Sutton, who's going to be free agent next year, and you almost even just want another outside wide receiver, and you want to put, I mean, obviously Evan Ingram might be like your slot guy. Maybe you're playing in more bunched formations and you want to put Evan Ingram and Marvin Mims in the slot together, and that doesn't even really matter because it's not even the slot, just everyone's inside. And then you throw, you want to like have a guy that can spell Cortland Sutton a little bit. You want to have 2 outside threats and then put someone like Evan Ingram, Marvin Mims in the slot and run something like that. I mean, Trey Harris to me, and I'm not even saying this as this is who I would take. You can sell me on why the team would legitimately go this path in round 2 after taking Omarion Hampton in round 1.
1,000% though, because it's like, I think I said it for like the taking of Tedoroa McMillan at 20, because it's like, it's, or even just wide receiver in general. And maybe this is in your thought process too, Jordan, but it's just like, it's like the offensive version of how you build the Eagles. It's addressing a need before it's a need, and so basically it's like, it's one where you have like 3 options available to you. You have 3 options available to you in round 2, where you have arguably, if he was playing for a full season, the most productive wide receiver out of the entire bunch in Trey Harris. You have probably the player who is the most comparable out of the bunch in terms of archetype, and Jaden Higgins, right? And
Jaden Higgins is the other name I was going to bring up as well. And honestly, even his teammate right below him and Jalen Noel as well. Noel is less of your Cortland Sutton type. He's smaller and twitchier. But Jaden Higgins, very similar to Trey Harris in the sense of like can be your X wide receiver on the outside. I think Trey Harris is more has the capability of being your wide receiver 1, but yeah.
You convinced me. And actually, I think in this type of scenario, if it's all around the idea of helping Bo Nix, something would tell me that they also go offense with their very next pick as well. Jordan, you're very wide receiver, a pro wide receiver type of evaluator. And I know that there's another player here that, you've been really, really high on a pick 60 or rank 60, but are you with this? You with this in terms of the Cortland Sutton type of replacement?
I understand it, and I do. And listen, I love Trey Harris too, and I don't like to put wide receivers down. But I think, and this is just my opinion as of right now, it can change by tomorrow. But I'm just saying, as of right now, I think Trey Harris at 51 may be a bit too rich for me.
Oh, too rich, he says.
Just because.
Okay.
If I'm going to take a receiver, let's say within the top 50 picks, I need to trust that he's going to win his battles consistently and create separation without pushing off the DBs just because he's stronger. I need him to consistently create separation. I know Trey Harris has good vertical speed, but again, he is more like Cortland Sutton, like how Brandon mentioned, which is a perfect comparison, actually, that he can get you those 50-50 jump balls at times too, but he does create separation by pushing off just a little bit. His route running, I know he only ran a certain amount of routes in Ole Miss. I think he can run more as well. Just again, we need to see it to believe it. At least that's how I am. But I think at 51, because again, it's just my opinion, but I think Trey Harris at that is a bit too rich for me.
I have one other comparison for Trey Harris though that would fit the archetype of this team, and that's Michael Thomas.
Yeah. I think the thing for me,
is that a wide receiver who can run out to the catch and kill you on slants? Hello.
Yeah. I guess the thing for me is, when you think about defensive line, it is so jam-packed. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah himself who said that there are 24 starters.
Yeah. There's so many defensive tackles.
That it's like, you're fine going a completely different route. And honestly, I wouldn't even be the least bit surprised if they went tight end here and went with one of these guys here in the bunch.
That was going to be the other area that I was going to look at, because specifically in Elijah Arroyo, there's actually a couple of guys. You could also, I could get behind Mason Taylor, but Elijah Arroyo, again, if you're looking to have almost two Evan Ingrams in the sense that like, they're both very, very, very talented. Elijah Arroyo might be the best pass catching tight end in this entire class.
Yeah.
And I say that with full confidence. Now, can he block? Not really, but I don't care. I want him to be our freakish weapon that no one can stop and no one can cover, and just want him to run over every safety on the second level after catching a 15-yard seam ball from Bo Nix. Like, that would be so much fun. The reason I say he's very similar to Evan Ingram, I mean, like, both those guys are kind of like huge slot players. They also both kind of have a little bit of an injury history. But I love Elijah Arroyo. And honestly, even Mason Taylor. I think Mason Taylor is an incredibly...
He'd be a bit more inline, if you will, too. And
well, he's an incredibly well-rounded tight end is what I was going to say. Like, He can do a little bit of everything. He could be your wide tight end that is able to block and kind of stay in line. And he's pretty good as a receiving weapon as well. Like, you can pretty easily convince me that Mason Taylor is the third best tight end in this class. I mean, Elijah Arroyo has been shooting up draft boards. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's any way he's going to be here at 51. He might even go in the first round. I don't know. The medicals could push him down, but I would also be pretty in on either Mason Taylor or Elijah Arroyo here. And I'm saying that as like what the team would do. Between the two of them, I would think they would probably go with Taylor, just because, again, they have Evan Ingram in that they have their like weapon that they are. It's just like a big slot. And they might want a bit more of that well-roundedness and versatility in a guy like Taylor. But I mean, I would also, again, not be surprised if it's Arroyo.
What if we risked it for the biscuit and did not take Arroyo here and see if he's available at 85.
Well, if we're trying to be as realistic as possible, he might not be available at 51. I don't think he's making it to 85. And just, I mean, like in the simulator, maybe.
Even
But
Ferguson,
if we're trying to keep this somewhat in the realm of possibility, I don't think he's going to be there.
Also,
so Trey Harris or Mason Taylor or Elijah Arroyo, I would be in on all three of those guys. Or maybe even Jaden Higgins. I just like Trey Harris more.
Man, Jordan, you're already kind of repping the brand.
I mean, I had to put the hat on. Listen, I didn't know this. If we were going to agree on this, then I'm going to do it right now. Elijah Arroyo is the pick at 51.
Okay.
I've been and I said it before. I got to pull up that tweet. I got to find it. And I think I tweeted. I hope I did. Before the season started, I want to say, and I believe that I tweeted out that Elijah Arroyo is going to be one of the best tight ends coming out of this draft. Because everybody was worried about Tyler Warren and Colston Love, and rightfully so, they're great tight ends. But then once Elijah Arroyo played this year and absolutely dominated, he was I don't want to say by far, but he was one of the best tight ends in the country. And that was just the truth of it.
So let me ask you one question.
Well, here's the question. Going back to trade offers.
Yeah.
Do we take the Browns offer?
I wouldn't.
You would or wouldn't?
Wouldn't.
Well, one thing with
though.
Arroyo, let me just throw this out there. Do you have any concern at all about the multiple seasons of missed games due to a left knee injury?
I personally don't. Now, is this because I know him and the family personally and I trust Bo Lowry in Denver too? Yes.
Okay.
All right. Elijah Roy. I would just say
I'm okay with any of them. I personally think the more likely pick might be Mason Taylor, but I mean, I'm not going to say that they wouldn't take Elijah Roy.
No, I will say this: Sean Payne loves his tight ends.
He does. You got.
I think that's a big factor in this.
Yeah. True.
One thing I'll say too is I think that if you get Elijah Arroyo, you would either have to have a blocking-ish tight end later on in the draft, or you would have to have a blocking UDFA, come in. So,
well, I mean, you can throw another offensive lineman out there if you want, just another blocker. But I just think Mason Taylor's a good tight end.
He is a willing blocker. I know that's not his strength, but he can mix it up. I mean, whenever ground and pounded the ball, I mean, he had a few pancakes that people really didn't talk about.
Right.
I did watch every game, and I am a guy, but
I like how he just slides that in there.
I'm just saying because I know people do have questions about his blocking, and rightfully so, because everything we've seen is him receiving the ball. So,
all right,
the question is, can he block? He is a willing blocker. That's just not his ultimate strength as other tight ends.
So let's roll with Arroyo.
Go with Arroyo.
Yes. I mean, our draft right now is good. I mean, we got Hampton and Elijah Arroyo. I mean, our offense just took a leap. Damn. Man, I wish they did this in real life. All right, interesting here.
I hate that Jack Beck went to the Chiefs.
Wow, Tez Johnson to the Texans. I guess he's
my word. So, look, I'm not saying that this would happen, but there's a certain running back here that should never be available at 85. That would be a Sean Payton pick anyway.
He would, but that's not even close to realistic. He's not getting.
Are you sure?
Yeah. He's not getting 85.
No, in a sense of like if it lasted that long.
Oh, if it lasted that long, we'd run the card up there, but he's not lasting that long. I'm just curious. Who's there at wide receiver? I just want to know. I don't think we're going to take one. No.
Corey Horton?
No.
Savion Williams?
This is why I wanted Trey Harris.
I don't know. Savion Williams is...
he's interesting.
Every time... I'll say this. There's been multiple people that I've heard about this offseason that start out watching Williams tape and end up watching Jack Batch.
But Williams is like a 6'5", like hybrid freak.
Sure. I just think he might be.
As far as the
So Omar Norman Lott was the guy that I'm pretty into on the defensive line that I could absolutely see being the pick here. He was an absolute standout at the Senior Bowl, but he is a defensive tackle that gives you kind of that flexibility in what you're able to do with him, and he has the pass rushing chops to be a replacement for probably John Franklin Myers. If we're looking at between him and Zach Allen, like I think it's more likely we pay Zach Allen. And if you're looking for like who is going to be that next man up for JFM, I would say Omar Norman Lott is a pretty good candidate to be that kind of player. So that's the guy that I would be looking at this pick, and I would be pretty happy with that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's the pick that we take here. He's a little bit smaller than you would maybe kind of want from that position, but again, I think he just has the ability to rush the passer.
He also has the Jamar Cain connection.
Yeah.
I believe he's the nephew as well.
I would like to say on that Norman Lott pick, I'm going to side with Brandon on this. I think this would be the pick. A 3-tech still being available at this selection at 85. Someone will do it. I think the Denver Broncos would have to do it. If a 3 technique like Norman Lott is still available here,
yeah,
I think this is the pick. Now, Brandon, how do you feel about, and Cam, how do you feel about Shamar Turner? I don't think he'd be here at 85 though.
I personally would probably go with, I like Norman Lott a little bit better than Turner. And like Turner's kind of another one of those smaller defensive linemen, similar to Norman Lott. But he is kind of in that tweener category. And I think it just kind of depends on what you're looking to do with your defensive tackle and like what you're trying to get out of someone like him. I don't think he's going to give you as much in the pass rush that Norman Lott can, but I do think he's pretty good just eating up blocks and being a run stuffer. So if you're looking for more of a little bit more pass rush juice, I'd probably would go Norman Lott. If you're looking more for the run stuff ability with some pass rush upside still, I would maybe go with him, but with Turner, in my opinion.
I actually feel like Shamar Turner has more upside as a like pass rushing like type of interior defensive lineman. Specifically, and it's actually like both Shamars, like Shamar Stewart and Shamar Turner, I feel like are a bit athletic, if you will, like for who they, in terms of frame and, and specifically with how A&M had both of them playing. I mean, I think they're about equal in like weight, right? And so it's just like, I just feel like, Turner would probably offer you a little bit more in terms of some ceiling there. But I also know that Sean Payton, it's really hard to ignore connections.
And that was the other thing I was going to say. It's like he's Jamar Cain's nephew.
Yeah. So
I like Norman Lott here.
Okay.
A 3 tech like this, I don't think you'd pass up on it.
There's also Alfred.
I think Shamar Turner is still good.
Oh yeah. It's not
absolutely. Like I'm not saying Shamar Turner is not good. I just think if you're looking between the two of those, I think it would probably be Omar Norman Lott, but I would not be upset.
So we feeling wide receiver on this very next pick.
Let's see what's there.
If we and by the way, if we have enough time, just to humor all of us, what we are going to do is we will do a mock draft that we want to do, not Sean Payton, but that what we would want to do. So if we have some time here. All right. So based on who is available, wow. Gunnar Helm and his sprained ankle lasted all the way to pick 122. That's nuts. As far as more running backs available out of curiosity, you do have Ollie Gordon, Damian Martinez.
Can you keep scrolling down on that?
Rashard
Just out of
Smith.
curiosity.
Dylan Sampson is really low.
Wow, they have Dylan Sampson that low?
You also have Devin Neal really low. Woody Marks really low. Trevor Etienne really low.
This is a
Donovan
freaky
Edwards.
board, but also the running back class is absolutely ridiculous.
Who's
Also,
that?
we'll go back to Miami guys. Damian Martinez is underrated.
I don't know. You said it yourself, Jordan. We kind of already have a Damian Martinez on the roster right now.
I don't want to talk bad about any UM players at the moment. I plead the fifth.
We already suffice a little bit. As far as linebacker, there is Danny Stutzman, Demetrius Knight, and Jeffrey Bassa. If there is a linebacker that I am stumping and pounding the table for in this class, it is Jeffrey Bassa. I mean, he's another linebacker that fits the mold of, a player that is a safety converted to linebacker. The Matt Milano did that, and he's the Buffalo Bills linebacker. Divine Diablo, a bit of a talented linebacker from the Raiders, also did that too. So it's been a bit of a trend lately at linebacker. And of course, who knows what the future holds for Alex Singleton, right? So I've got to think that linebackers got to be somewhat in the cards here for the Broncos in the latter point of the draft.
I was going to say.
I don't disagree. I don't love the guys available, but I mean, I do think you would probably see them.
And wide receivers, not
go
exactly
after
all that tempting.
No.
Dante Thornton is exceptionally low. And Ja'Cory Brooks.
Nick Nash is a little interesting too, actually. He's definitely more of your he's kind of like discount Lad McConkey. But he's definitely more of a slot guy.
What are you guys feeling as far as the direction? Do you guys feel like it's going to be wide receiver? Or do you guys feel like it would be tight end here? Or I mean linebacker or defense.
I don't think linebacker is out of the question. I don't think defense is out of the question. At this point, I think it just comes down more to who do we love in this draft class? Yeah. That's kind of more in those middle rounds, and I don't know the answer to that question. So from a point of view of, and obviously no one probably outside of that organization knows. Maybe there's a few guys, but that's why doing something where it's hey, this is what we think the team would do. Obviously, it's already difficult enough, but you get later and it's kind of maybe this guy.
It's like pulling.
Yeah, but Jordan, what are you thinking?
I don't know. That night at what pick are we at? 122. Demetrius Knight Jr. at 122. It looks pretty enticing. I do like Bassa. You have convinced me on him, Cameron.
Kaiser.
Can you just, and this might be a wild take, can I look at the corner position?
Jacob Parrish, Mello Dotson, ignore Tommy Hill, Jamar Muhammad, Noel Williams, Upton Stout. So they have Upton Stout kind of low here, but Upton Stout I feel like is pretty versatile corner. He could play inside or outside.
Okay, so that's what I
Funny name.
Yeah, I think at linebacker, I'm intrigued with either Boss or Knight.
I'd be okay with that.
Let's roll with Demetrius Knight. Just one. I think Boggins kind of alluded it to the comments, and I think Boss is probably the same way. I just feel like Knight and Boss, it's just hard for me to envision them being here.
Yeah, this board is kind of weird.
Maybe we'll run a different board if we've got time. So let's roll with Knight.
I mean, Demetrius Knight might be a Dre Greenlaw Jr. type, you know?
You might. So what are you guys feeling? In terms of once we get later, I think this is one where I'm fine either getting a developmental tackle, but also this is a team that's not drafted a tackle since Garrett Bowles, like in any round.
That's still ridiculous to me.
So
I don't know. I'm thinking about double dipping on one of the positions.
I'm really intrigued to know what running back's going to be available at 191. That's what I want to know.
Considering how low,
there's two specific guys.
There's one in particular that I'm intrigued.
One specific guy. I just saw one of them go. There's one specific guy. I don't know. He might have gone. I haven't really seen.
My guy already went.
Was it Brashard Smith?
Yep.
That was one of mine.
That's my high school boy right there.
Okay, go to running back, please.
I see my boy Ty Robinson's available. There's no way he's available this late, by the way.
Tonka Hemingway. Just always fun to see.
RJ Harvey.
RJ Harvey's pretty interesting. Jordan James, I think,
Devin
is
Neal.
All right. So Woody Marks was my other guy.
I love.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Woody Marks is kind of flying under the radar in the sense of like he's a wide receiver threat out of the backfield. I think
he's like your perfect third down back. And like, yeah, Hampton can do that, but if you want Omarion Hampton to be your like primary rusher and you want to have a guy that you can bring in on third down out of the backfield, Woody Marks is like perfect. So Jaden Blue is another one.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm done. Like we're going Jaden Blue. Like Blue has no business being this low.
Yeah, Jaden Blue at 376 is someone typoed. Someone made a typo.
I mean, like we're talking about a guy that's going to be he might slide into day 2 in like round 3.
Yeah, you would think so. It's the draft. You never know.
Crazy stuff happens.
But as far as double dipping,
every single year,
we running to the podium for
Jaden
Blue.
He's like one of the better pure receiving backs.
Just like
RJ Harvey is also really good. RJ Harvey, Woody Marks, Jaden Blue. There's so many running backs. It's crazy.
Oh man, Sayer's giving you some hate here, Jordan.
Sayer. I know. I still kick myself for it to go to that game, but
are we thinking about also double dipping on another position here as well, like maybe defensive line, maybe even tight end again, like a Luke Lachey, a Jackson Hayes, a Thomas Fedoni. Which, by the way, Fedoni and Hayes, I think, are going to go a bit earlier than expected.
I actually would have loved Upton Stout here, and of course he goes to the Lions. One pick before.
Defensive tackle. There is Ty Robinson, again, who I don't think is even going to be here. Tonka Hemingway's been an East-West Shrine Bowl standout. So we feel like there's also safety too, by the way. Shiloh, the liability of the Colorado defense.
No.
Actually, Cam, go to wide receiver.
Oh. Theo Weiss. Doe.
Yeah, you want Jimmy Horn?
No,
Still in
Dante
Colorado.
Actually,
keep going down a little bit.
But
Yeah,
by
I'm
the
just,
way,
I'm just curious because the rankings are just disgusting.
But by the way, Jimmy Horn.
Ja'Cory Brooks is interesting. Yeah.
But by the way, Jimmy Horn, if I'm not mistaken, Sean Payton coached his father, Joe Horn.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, people in the comments, feel free to correct me on that. But if I'm not mistaken, I really do feel like he coached Joe Horn. You have the other.
I don't think.
Holy crap! Jalen Lane is really low.
So wait. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
I don't think Jimmy Horn is not related to Joe Horn.
You sure?
Jimmy Horn Sr. played football, but different. No familial.
There's
connection.
the other freak from Arkansas, Isaac Tesla. You feeling wide receiver?
For me, I am.
There's a couple choices.
Corey Brooks to me is just kind of a guy that I like from Louisville.
I know that's one of the.
He's just a speedster.
You have Dante Thornton, Ja'Cory Brooks, Theo Weiss, Afton Chisholm, Isaiah Nair, Sam Brown, just a few, and Isaac Tesla.
So this is who I'm between on wide receiver. Obviously, Ja'Cory Brooks. Again, I may or may not have ties with him. But, so he is one that I'm looking at here. Another one that I'm looking at, even though he's a bit more down, is Samuel Brown Jr. Out of UM. Don't take my word for it, but Bill Belichick actually did a deep dive into Sam Brown Jr. midway through the NFL season and midway through the college football season. He went over his tape, and to summarize it all, he thinks that he's the prototypical wide receiver size at 6'1", has great speed, and thinks he could be a really good wide receiver in the league. So Sam Brown Jr. at 197, I don't think it's not going to be a popular pick among other people, but I think that's a sneaky one, at least in my opinion. When you're getting shot out by the GOAT, I think that speaks volumes, at least to me.
Graham says, draft the guy with the best last name.
We can do that too.
Landon is a big Missouri Tigers fan, I believe.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so he's pounding the table for Theo Weiss. We thinking wide receiver, or
so we can't draft the guy with the coolest name because Coldest Crawford is not available to.
And also he's dead to me because he was a former Nebraska Cornhusker, and now he's somewhere. Due to
Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, no, so I kind of lost sight of him. As far as special teams, because punters are people too.
The kid from Miami should be there. Borregales should be out that.
Yeah.
He probably was already taken.
I don't know about that. Well, the rankings on this are stupid.
Oh,
there he is, Borregales. That's good.
Yeah. What are you guys feeling though? Truly, I mean, you could even go edge depth here too. This late.
I don't know. I think wide receiver here might be the play.
Dante Thornton.
I mean,
yeah, I'm going with Ja'Cory Brooks Jr. If
I want Ja'Cory Brooks. That's my guy.
Okay.
There you go. I got another one of my guys. I mean, this would be a crazy dream for me.
I'll share him with you, Jordan. He's our guy. I did bring his name up like a couple months ago.
Well, Brandon, I Did play a couple seasons of travel basketball with him. So
Is there anybody you don't have connections with?
I have like 6 or 7 guys in this draft that are gonna get drafted. And they've been like my boys, so I'm excited, and I wish I could have them all.
All right. I'll give it to it.
No, we'll share. No, that's ours. That's ours.
As far as best
I'll let
player,
you tell him that.
as far as best player available, they could.
We're not going to take their running backs, but Jordan James is going to be surprisingly good.
And also Devin Neal is still out there. Just letting you
Wow,
know.
there's no way
He
Devin
won't be.
Neal's
He will not be. Woody Marks.
Woody Marks.
No. Can't do it.
Tight end. You do have Thomas Fedoni, Jackson Hayes.
Let's look at the trenches. What's on the offensive line and the defensive
guard
line?
Willie Lampkin. Actually,
Willie Lampkin, man.
I think
Is he too short to play in the NFL? Legitimate question. Like, what do you guys think? 5'11"?
That's 5'10".
5'10"? I thought it was 5'11".
Is that a misprint that I'm saying with 270?
No, 5'10". Well, let's see. What was his he didn't go to the combine, right?
First team All-American honors.
Tell me that's a misprint. 270 per guard.
I know he went to the Senior Bowl. No, 5'10", 270 is what he weighed in at the Senior Bowl.
Tell me that's a misprint.
Nah.
Please.
Hey, well, I wonder AQ Shipley.
Was he kind of tiny?
Yeah, AQ Shipley is a tiny center.
Really?
Yeah, AQ Shipley. Well, for the I always know that whenever he's on the McAfee show,
he's like 6'1".
Oh no, because they talk about his short arms. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
He has short arms. His reach. I was thinking about
Gotcha. Yeah, Willie Lampkin. I mean, we could go Tez Johnson and Willie Lampkin. I know Tez Johnson's already taken, but just this is the undersized class. Yeah, Willie Lampkin is the shortest offensive line prospect ever and the second lightest. He was pretty good for UNC, though. I mean,
maybe if you want to go developmental tackle here, I don't know whether or not they would, but
yeah,
and take the Florida kid or the Alabama A&M kid. You know, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon.
I would be okay with either one. I draft an offensive lineman at some point. Well, who's on the defensive line available?
For edge, you have Johnny Walker from Missouri, Tyler Beatty from BYU.
Who's available at tackle, defensive tackle?
Tonka.
Tim Smith, Tonka. Okay. I would be okay taking a developmental tackle here. Offensive tackle. We got to get some guys in the building here.
What do you know about since you're all about connections here tonight,
yeah,
Jordan?
Tell us about Brandon Crenshaw Dixon.
Tell us about Brandon
basketball with him.
Yeah.
I actually did not.
Dang.
I actually did not. I do not. I am not familiar with this individual.
Other than he plays for one of your greatest rivals. So I
and I probably do not like him.
He says probably. So sorry, Brandon, if we draft you, you're not exactly going to be hitting the ground running with Jordan.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think he is a
developmental tackle at round 6.
I think he's got some. Oh man, the
Raiders have 3 picks in a row.
The Raiders took
Devin Neal. That he's not lasting that long.
No. I gotta pause this for a second. They took Taj Brooks and Devin Neal.
That's a Raiders thing to do.
Like that is hysterical.
Cody Simon's pretty decent. Woody Marks goes to the Steelers.
That actually feels like a Steelers pick, actually.
Yeah, a little bit. Shadows in New England.
So it's up to y'all. We could do one real quick, doing a completely different database, maybe doing Pro Football Focus or something, since you guys are accustomed to that, and running one.
Yeah,
Football Focus.
Let's do a quick one if Jordan's in.
Yeah,
we don't have to do like a super in-depth analysis though.
Oh yeah. I feel like that's the thing is
I'm down for a quick one. I'm down for.
I definitely want to see PFF's board
do a comparison.
because that was crazy.
Yeah, I had PFF on the side, and yeah, the rankings are pretty bad.
That was strange.
To say the least. All right.
That wasn't a bad. Do you still have that simulator open though? I want to just take a look at that overall class.
Actually, just
You just kidding. I mean, hey, Amarian Hampton and Elijah Arroyo, first 2 picks. Sign me
I
up.
mean, yeah, that's just a dream for me.
all right. Let's go here. Let's go NFL draft. Mock draft simulator. Denver, 7 rounds. So now go here to present. Share screen. So you guys want to get freaky? Like just bump everything up and then get Luther Burden in like the 5th round?
No.
Okay, I'm kidding.
No, I don't want that.
Do you guys? I assume we probably want somewhere in the middle though, just so we have an idea of who's.
So we can see. Yeah. I usually like to put it kind of in the middle, and then I throw the public versus PFF board kind of in the middle.
Damn, you have it all the way in the middle.
It just is interesting to see what happens.
What do you do, Jordan?
I have it like a little bit before the middle.
Really? That's fine. I think to me it's kind of like a nice way, that's okay, to I know they have randomness on here, but I'm like, again, crazy stuff happens every single year, and splitting it down the middle gives me still somewhat realistic, but also there's some capability for something freaky to happen.
All right.
I think this is fine. This is totally fine.
All right, so we're trading Cortland Sutton, or
Oh,
my bad. My bad.
Give me Trey Harris at 51, and then we'll see.
Or are you trying to say we trade Cortland Sutton and then get Jerry Jeudy back? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, please not.
I mean, Jordan, you said this is what we want to do, right? Like, or what we would want to do.
I don't think you want me to take this over, Cam.
All right. Let's start the draft. Travis Hunter went 1.
Wow.
Okay, that's just weird. Wait, has a quarterback gone?
No.
We actually might want to do a trade here.
That was too random.
Yeah, I would.
Can we start that over and bump the randomness down?
Yeah,
I don't know. Can you do that if you go to settings?
Let's see,
That was
You can go back and just
odd. That was too weird.
that is funny. All right.
Well, once we started getting past like pick 5, pick 6, I was like, all right, something is
That something happened.
It's
Someone spiked the punch. Oh no, it's on turbo.
Brandon, that kind of reminds me of one of the fantasy drafts that you and I were in with one of our friends, and the guy was on auto draft, and he took 4 consecutive kickers.
Yeah,
The auto draft, like it's just like you can't explain it.
you should adjust the board though.
To what?
Well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the board was what made it freak out.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
We can leave it at that. I'm like, this guy. This has to be at least somewhat realistic. There we go. Okay.
I didn't see shit.
Ashton Jetty to 6. That makes sense.
I didn't see shit or Sanders though.
That honestly is still pretty realistic. All right, show us the wide receivers, because I know Jordan's about to ask for that too.
Oh.
Yep.
So, Egbuka, Burden, Matthew Golden are like your safest picks of the entire class, probably even for wide receiver. I don't care which way we go. Golden is getting a bit of a trend going upwards in terms of being the first wide receiver taken. Burden is a bit falling a little bit, maybe even past, past the first round. If it was me, I would rather go with Igbokwe or even Burden. Burden has the higher ceiling, as I said. Igbokwe and Golden are like the Hines Ward, like the Golden Tates of this. Like, they are really solid. You can get them for 10 plus years type of wide receivers. You can't miss with him.
And Emeka Igbokwe is like bust proof. I would take him.
I would.
Yep.
Like, there is a reason why I am very pro Igbokwe and Amari and Hampton agenda, because Igbokwe is something that, he doesn't fit the profile of the big wide receivers that Sean has, but there is one thing, and I don't mean to pander to Jordan, but like, if there is one thing that, this Denver Broncos offense would have severely needed last year, is a space eater. And you put Jerry Jeudy with the offense that they were running with Bo Nix, and he is eating that yards alive. Igbokwe, Burden, or even Golden are exactly that. And not to mention, Igbokwe is perfect for the locker room. He is perfect for this team. He literally feels like a Sean Payton type of wide receiver, or even a locker room presence of that. I am all about Igbokwe at 20.
Nasty blocker as a wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want Igbokwe.
There we go. We got him.
I'm really,
ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I really appreciate.
Let's pause real quick before we get too far.
Oh, I see. More in Hampton went.
I was just. Oh, did he go?
I think so.
Oh,
I went to LA. I was going to ask just before we got out of round one if we wanted to trade up at all.
Still can.
I'm just curious. Hampton is a guy I would trade up for, and he's gone.
But I guess you can't. Wait. Oh, well, no. Wait a minute. Oh, wait.
I want to bring up something.
Okay.
So, stay with me now. Cooper Kupp was rumored at one point to go to the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are in the market for a wide receiver. Do we entertain? I don't know what pick they have in the second round.
Let's look.
Or whatever. But I know it'll probably
44.
take. What happened?
44.
44?
Do we entertain the idea
Trading
of
set.
maybe sending them Cortland and a pick for that 44th pick? Depending on who's there.
I would say let's revisit that idea let's pause it on 43.
All right, Cam, you got to pause at 43. You got to do a good job pausing it.
So I'll tell you what, just to make, since we're all old now in this chat, we're going to go slow.
Oh, perfect. That's fantastic. Slow it down. I want them to walk up to the podium with a cane.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. This is it.
Okay.
Wow. Colston Loveland in round 2. That will never happen.
Shedeur Sanders to the Giants in round 2.
That's insane. Jaden Higgins.
Seeing a trend here.
Gray Zabel. I hate it.
Maybe we should.
This is interesting, fellas.
Xavier Watts. Okay.
They don't need to go wide receiver. I mean, they probably could, since they're pissed off at Brandon Ayuk. But
what wide receivers are available? Out of curiosity,
I don't think we can look because we're not on the clock.
You can't see it all. That's stupid.
Not that I can tell. Right?
Can you? Did anyone see if Trey Harris went? I don't think he went.
Well,
I didn't see him.
I didn't see him either, but
No, he didn't go.
Assuming I haven't seen the kid from Stanford go. Have you?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Alec
I haven't seen him
Ogmeyer.
go.
I love him too.
I haven't seen Xavier Restrepo go. I haven't seen Trey Harris go. Haven't seen Isaiah Bond go. I haven't seen any of those guys go.
I think we should do it.
Manor. Well, here's my question: would you be comfortable rolling into this season with no proven veteran wide receiver?
Yes.
I will.
Okay.
But even then,
Let's do it.
But even then, what I would do is I would trade Court, but I would still bring in a vet like a Keenan Allen, like an Amari Cooper, just having a vet in the room.
Oh, absolutely.
So
okay, so let's do it. Send them Cortland and I don't know.
All right.
Do you send them Cortland at 85? Maybe we can keep 51.
Oh, I wanted to keep 51 regardless.
Okay.
Oh.
What about 122? I feel like that might be a bit low, but I'm just curious.
I don't know. How about 122 in a future 6th? I don't know.
We could also force the trade just because.
No, everyone.
Again, let's keep it somewhat realistic if we can. Do you think they would do that?
I don't know, man.
Maybe like a future.
So what was the verdict on Cortland Sutton for his package, right? It'll be a 2nd rounder and a 4th rounder. That's what they were looking for, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
So I guess 85 would do it.
I mean, 85 will do it. I don't love giving up another top 100 pick. That's my only thing here
but you'd have a
this is a good point.
Yeah. But like
this is why I asked the question about.
But the reason why is like you'd have like the meat and bones of 44 and 51, so you can kind of basically go and still get your player at 51.
I'm just curious to see how this goes, so let's do it.
Okay.
Jordan, you in?
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah, he feels like he's been in for the moment this trade was even on the table.
All right.
So 44, 85, and Cortland Sutton.
Okay. What running backs are available at the next pick is what I want to know. Okay. Also, we can make it faster now.
Brandon.
The anticipation was killing me.
Look how high Demetrius Knight Jr. is on people.
I know, that's crazy.
So why?
I'm curious, but show me running backs.
Jalen Royals. Look at Savion Williams too. Like
show me running backs.
Wow, Dylan Sampson is that high for PFF, but on Pro Football Network.
Uh-oh. I mean, do we really have to is there really a choice? When you have 2 Ohio State running backs, you have Caleb Johnson, you have Trevion Henderson. Might be able to get him at 51, though. Just if we want to.
I love A.O. Manor, but I would rather get if we're trading Cortland Sutton and we're rolling into this season with a rookie wide receiver 1, I would rather give Bo a elite running back and another good wide receiver than a great wide receiver, a good wide receiver, and a good running back. Like, we could probably still get an elite running back at 51, but like there's enough guys available, and it's in 7 picks that like we absolutely could see one of these guys fall to 51. So I could go either way. I like Alec I.O. Manor.
But also, you have to think
if you're trying to get back a similar player to Cortland Sutton, I'm still on the Trey Harris bandwagon.
So I like Trevion Henderson here, and then maybe Trey Harris at 51.
That's what I was.
I would be okay with that.
And actually, don't rule out Trevion Henderson at 20. I know we did our mock draft on PFN. Don't rule it out because this is Sean Payton's world and world.
I think Omarion Hampton at 20 is more likely, but sure.
But I just think that like I wouldn't put it past Sean.
Yeah.
I mean, and I also think like if you look at like the Bo Nix of fits in this running back class, truly, I think you could basically plug any running back in the offense. But I feel like Henderson is like the perfect fit for him. What he can do explosively, he's really, really good in pass pro. Maybe for as much as his size is, he's probably one of the best pass pro backs in this class. It can run between the tackles. I mean, actually, his pass pro is probably the best of the bunch.
Hampton's pretty good.
And by the way, JR, this is also I feel like of like what we would do necessarily. Obviously, things are trending, and I'm fine with it. Them extending Cortland Sutton. It's just now given the idea of the Higgins and the Chase deals. You know, what route are they going to go? You know, and in terms of paying him, that's really just the question now. I mean, because there is a world where Sutton's might be asking for $30 million a year, and that's going to be a bit rich for my blood right now at this point. But you are spot on though, in the sense of like I don't think you trade a wide receiver who has the most chemistry with Bo Nix. I don't think you do that.
I would be okay with taking Henderson here for sure. Oh, weird. Already did.
Just so you know, Brandon, he's there.
Okay.
As is Trey Harris.
Go back. Scroll slightly down. Oh, Royals. Okay.
Oh man,
I love A.M. Manor.
There's still a tight end there.
And I love Trey Harris.
I love how George just very under his breath says, "There's a tight end there."
I mean, you want to talk about? Listen, I don't know if you. Excuse my language, but you want to talk about a wet dream for me? I mean, that's your world, and I am buying all three. I mean, this is my type of draft.
So yeah, Brandon, you sure you want to go wide receiver? He's silent, folks.
I don't know. I like all the guys at wide receiver, and I like the guys at tight end.
I do feel like you almost like have to get a wide receiver though. Now that you did trade Court,
well, that's what I'm thinking. And then your next pick is 122.
I would go A.M. Manor personally. I would go A.M. Manor. He's a boundary first round wide receiver for me. And I also think that like he, of all the wide receivers that put on a mixtape against arguably the top 5 draft pick of this class in Travis Hunter.
Oh, the Colorado game was crazy. 13 catches for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns.
So I would draft LSU.
I would be okay with that manner.
Jordan.
We took your boy before. We took your boy last time.
No, that's fine. You can pick out. I'm gonna write down a Royal here.
He's gonna write down Arroyo just
and I'm gonna see how my thing ends up compared to that.
All right. So 122 probably means we should be going tight end on this next pick.
Or defensive line.
Because I do have a plan later if it does not work out.
He has
taking a Royal at 51.
You don't have the semblance of a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
The concept of a plan.
That's not a plan.
Elijah Royal to the Jets.
Oof. And actually, that fits nice with Justin Fields.
Yep.
Terrence Ferguson to the Bucks. Ferguson and Kate Otten. DJ Giddens to Jacksonville.
Charles Grant from William and Mary is pretty good.
Oh, I feel so bad for you, Tez.
As Johnson went to the Browns.
Wow, Devin Neal to the Vikings would be great.
Also, Walker going into almost the hundreds is crazy.
Bond to the Patriots.
All right, we're coming up here.
JT Peaks. All right. So you said at first defensive line, right?
Defensive line or tight end, I want to know who's there. Well, just yeah, that's fine.
Simeon Barrow, Riley Mills. Riley Mills was obviously, as everybody knows, was like he was the famous one that punched the Indiana guy, right?
Yeah. What tight ends are there? Woof.
I don't know. There's a tight end I take, but people would call me biased.
Cam, go to the receivers real quick.
Go triple receiver.
Oh no, I mean, for me, yeah. Okay, so.
Oh, that's fair because you took Arroyo.
So
Jaden Blue.
Also, Noah Williams is.
Look how high Brandon Crenshaw Dixon is too.
Yeah.
wow.
Jaden Blue's 124. There's
Oh, I have my pick.
Brashard Smith.
Let's go to all the running backs here. Blue, Martinez, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Yeah, I'm kind of with it. What about you, Brandon?
With taking who?
Brashard Smith.
Sure.
Or would you rather go a different position like?
No, Brashard Smith is fine. I do think it's weird that we haven't taken a defensive lineman yet, but that's how the board falls.
Yeah.
I would also like to announce, since I took Bashar with this pick, I am signing Amari Cooper because I have not gotten a receiver yet to replace that veteran presence. Just saying.
I mean, we're still going to do that.
Just saying. Damn, somebody shit. Ibuka, Henderson, or
Jaden Blue went to the Rams.
The Rams got some juice.
Will Howard of the Dolphins.
Oh,
Jack Kaiser to the Ravens.
Starting quarterback for the Dolphins.
I don't know. You got a Zach Wilson over there.
That's true. That is true. Okay. Interesting. Taj Brooks of the Vikings.
Wow.
I think we know who we're going to pick here.
I think we lucked out, gents.
Hey, these type of things happen. I mean, his average draft position is 140, and we're at 191, so it can happen.
I don't know much about him, but sign me up for a defensive lineman.
At this point, it would be what, BPA, right?
Yeah.
Again, Ty Robinson is not going to be here. Just saying.
All right. Go for it.
You can chill out now.
We're going to get an A+ draft grade. We're going to have top 1% of Denver drafts.
Efton Chisholm. Samuel Brown.
Let me pencil him in.
What tight end did we take? Did we take a tight end?
No, you guys did it. I did. Oh, that's a good one
Gadsden.
right there.
Take Gadsden right now.
Big Gadsden right now.
Thanks.
Actually, he would be like the perfect Evan Ingram replacement. Actually,
So the reason I said take Gadsden right now.
truly, like he would be like the perfect one. So we have Egbuka, Henderson, Manor, Smith, Broughton, Gadsden.
I have Egbuka, Henderson, Arroyo, Smith, Texas defensive lineman, and then instead of that tight end, I took Samuel Brown.
I give the edge to PFF right now. Carr's best player available. Ollie Gordon, LaQuint Allen. If we wanted to go with another running back, Dick Majors for.
Do we only have the one running back for now?
We do.
Is Woody Marks available? I don't think so.
Or was it? Yeah, Jaquarius.
I would take Woody Marks right now, personally, but
Or LaQuint.
I like Woody Marks better.
Donovan Edwards.
Oh wait, no, we took Brashard Smith. Never mind. I forgot we took Brashard Smith as well.
I don't know. You could just completely remake the room.
Yeah.
Wide receiver.
I'm very happy with my class right now. Man, if Kyron Lacy didn't do any of those gun gestures throughout the whole season, he'd be ranked so much higher.
He would.
That's going to be such a Kansas City Chief draft selection.
Holland Pierce.
Yeah, we could throw a developmental offensive lineman in there.
Yeah, I'm actually down for this too. I'll agree with this.
Holland Pierce. Yeah, get the trenches down in there. He's actually been taken higher. I mean, or right around this point, I should say.
Let's do it.
Sure.
I mean, A+ draft in my opinion.
With or without Arroyo?
Oh no, I'm talking about mine.
What was yours?
All right, so I have Egbuka, Henderson, and then instead of the wide receiver from Stanford, I got Arroyo, and then Brashard Smith, the Texas defensive lineman, and then I had Samuel Brown, and then the developmental tackle that we took.
Okay.
And then plus I signed Amari Cooper.
Oronde Gadsden is a D. Why does PFF hate Oronde Gadsden?
Look at the Henderson pick.
Not
And
yet.
Henderson.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, what was the overall grade? A-?
A-.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine. They just said mine was an A+. So. Nice.
Hey, it's a passing grade. It is a passing grade. So, but no, I love doing these things. I love doing things, post free and see. It's a lot of fun. I think that it engages it and it makes us obviously know a little bit more about the draft. So, and it's just it's a fun exercise, and obviously things are subject to change. That's one of the beautiful things about all of this is it's subject to change, or it might just stay the same depending on, the certain agenda, like Amari and Hampton at 20 or Emeka Egbuka at 20, depending on the agenda. Was certainly a lot of fun. We'll figure out what we want to talk about in terms of next week.
Fun drafts, boys.
It was absolutely a blast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for the MHRT Network channel over there on YouTube. We are pushing and pushing and pushing, of course, for 2,000 subscribers over there on MHRT for YouTube. We also have a swag shop where you can go buy some podcast merch, like mainly Broncos merch. So feel free to do that. I'll drop the link here after the show over on my Twitter handle, X handle, at Cameron Parker PO. And make sure you follow the rest of the boys at Jordan T. Lopez, at Brandon Miller PO. You can follow Matty, of course, as well, at Matty Mulls Pod. It has been a phenomenal episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast. And there is nothing left to say except for...
Let's go Broncos! God bless Bo Nix!
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.